So we actually look into the Angel Feather, the carrier for the Interstellar Union Army. We actually seen Kree looking at the pictures of Homura, which Victory actually noticed that he always seen her, the pictures of her, because he actually claiming that he's looking the information of the Eden Zero crew, in which we actually see him talking about Shiki, who also inherited Ziggy's powers. Now, we actually knew what Ziggy's old master is going to talk to him about what he's going to do next. But now we're going to see what Justice is going to do next about Elsie, which he get a call talking about Nero, which Nero's top officials have assembled into a planet that actually going to talk about the temple, which the other member, who also known as the temple, actually going to talk about the oceans, which Justice doesn't actually care about Nero, but what he actually talks about is his son Sura, which we knew that if he dies, he will take over, but which there's many people in the early cosmos, so Jaguar and Eraser is on their way to their location, which she said it let them help him with the problem that he actually has, which Holy actually knew that Justice will need help. However, in Nero 1 planet, the temple actually has the oceans where the member of the Oration Sades Galactica, Poseidon Nero, who actually talk about how the ocean cries for protection, which means that someone is causing the problems out there, which we actually see a elderly man who actually come across a alien and a sea creature, but we actually knew that he's talking about Foresta was violated by the hands of the demon lord Shiki, which Sura actually didn't know who Shiki is, but Caldon Steelroof, who actually wants to know who he is as well. Then we actually see the other member, Laura, say that he is an old friend of His Majesty, who was actually known of his gravity magic. Then another member, Nashi, actually said that if memory serves, he's also a robot, but also deceased, which we knew that Nero actually said that he returned to life, but he actually was corrupted by darkness, which he lost his heart. But we knew how things will turn out badly, but we actually see the other member, Molini Lukra, who actually knew how any violence that actually performed in the cosmos were actually how dealt with, which actually far from beautiful. Then the other member, Kronika, actually said that as a fellow robot, he is actually ashamed and embarrassed of his behavior, which we now knew that he actually resent Shiki for what he has done. And also another member, Frabino, who actually wants to ask Nero what he'll do. So he actually rolled the dice in his hands to determine his fate, which Sora actually doesn't want him to use it, but he doesn't want to hear it, which he actually knew that the dice of his eyes will determine his fate, which they didn't betray him before. So now we'll actually see what the dice is going to tell him, which they're his guiding dice. So now the numbers on the dice actually determines what he'll do. So he actually saw the dice, and he actually knew what the dice is telling him what to do, by which they're actually asking him what he'll do, in which he'll actually do nothing, as the dice actually tells him what he say is best. So he told Sora that he'll actually will take matters into his hands, which he actually knew that he means it, knowing that he actually told his father that he's foolish to actually thinking that he relying on the numbers that order him around, which he actually asked his secretary El Juna about what actually is happening in Eden Zero, which means that the situation will now actually be transferred to Sora, which means that we're actually going to see how they're going to deal with C, which means that we're going to see what xenolith is going to talking to Shiki about what he's about to say, which back in Eden Zero, we actually knew that the reason that Ziggy is a reason that he's targeted Foresta is that he actually coming after him, meaning that he actually fears him for what he actually is capable of doing. So now we actually knew what he's going to do, because he actually encounters him, which he asking Shiki to find Ziggy and actually defeats him. So we're going to see what his answer of that going to be. Now I'm actually seeing the debut of the group known as the Ocean 6, which I'm actually applaud the artists who created the characters. They really did a good job on these characters, and I'm actually am happy that they really did a good job. But, however, we actually see xenolith actually asking Shiki to find Ziggy and defeat him, because he's the reason that he fears him, and the reason that he go after Forsta. But we see Nero asking Sora to go after Ziggy himself, as the dice told him to do. So we're actually going to see what's going to happen on the next chapter next weekend. So anyway, like this video, subscribe for more, and comment what you think about the manga chapter. You guys can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and my Facebook page. Until then, this is Anime Guys running here saying signing out. Laters, and be safe.